Good morning, שפע ברוך והצלוחו. ולא נחם אלוקים דרך ארץ פלישתים כי קרובו. God is taking Am Yisrael out of Egypt, Baruch Hashem, we're going out, but he's taking the long way, not through the short way. Why? Why not take the short way? כי קרובו. Because, what is קרובו? Because they're close. What is the meaning? You remember last parasha we're talking about Korban Pesach? The last thing that Am Yisrael is doing before they're getting out of Egypt is Korban Pesach. And there is written, if there is not enough people to eat from the sacrifice, from the lamb, so ייקח את הקרוב לביתו. So he's going to ask the neighbor, השכן הקרוב לביתו, the neighbor that is close to his home. Well, where is the neighbor? Of course, קרוב לביתו. Of course, it's close to his house. But the meaning, as we said, is קרוב לאמונתו, is קרוב לבית היהודי, is close to the Jewish home. That's the meaning, close. Not physical distance, but a spiritual distance. And here, the same thing, but opposite way. Here, קרוב הוא, the closeness to the influence of the nations that live nearby in the short way, with the avodah zarah, with the idol worshippers and all the other things, it can cause Am Yisrael to go back to avodah zarah. The Torah says, "V'chamushim yatzu." What is chamushim? Chamushim, says Rashi, chad mechamishim, one of chad mechamesh, one of 5. In other words, only 20% got out of Egypt. Can you believe this? 80% stayed in Egypt. They died in the 3 days of the darkness. And this is also another interesting story by itself. But to understand, 80% after all the miracles and all the things that they saw, how mighty God is, and they still going with the idol worshippers. And this is something that we have to understand. The influence of evil, the influence of Yetzer Hara is unbelievable. The influence of the environment, of the society. My brother wrote a book. How is it called, the book? הטוב הרע והמכוער באינטרנט. The good, the evil, and the ugly in the internet. There was a film like this, but the idea is the psychology that works on people through the internet. And in the book, he brings a very interesting story about an experiment that one of the psychologists did. I don't remember his name. And the experiment was, they took 7 people. One of them is the guy that was really the one that they made the experience on him. All the others are a part of this test. And they put on a board 4 or 5 stripes, and on the other side another stripe, and you had to say which one of the stripes on the left side is identical to the one on the right side, and it was very obvious. Let's say they told them to choose the stripe on the right side was, the line on the right side was the short one, so they had to find the same thing on the other side where are the 4 stripes. And all the 6 that were a part of the experiment, of the test, they said the wrong stripe, the wrong line. And what do you think did the number 7 that didn't know about all this? He was the one that they did the experiment on him. What do you think he did? Yes, he chose what all the others chosen. He thought, maybe I'm not seeing well, because everybody is choosing this line, so this must be the right line. So in order we don't make a mistake, they did the same experiment again, but now all of them were a part of the experiment, all the 7. And everybody showed the right stripe, the right line, because it was obvious. And by the way, they didn't have any connection, those people. Not like they were a group that were like, you could be influenced very easily. There were no connection between them, as my brother told me. And now we see the influence. You see it in front of your eyes. You see in your eyes, this is not the right line, but everybody's saying, so you go with it. And this is what's happening to our society. This is what's happening all around us. And this is what the problem that was with Am Yisrael in Egypt. We say Yetziat Mitzrayim, going out, not from Egypt, going Egypt. I don't know how you say it in English. Yetziat Mitzrayim, that's what we call it. But I said, Rav Petach Tikva, Rav Rashi, he said, Why is it not Yetziah Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt, from Egypt, but going of Egypt, or going Egypt? That's what we call it. Because Yetziat Mitzrayim, I can say it only in Hebrew. Yetziat Mitzrayim says that the idea was that Mitzrayim had to go out of us. This was Yetziat Mitzrayim. All the bad influence that we had for those years, with all the idol worshippers and all the other things of Yetzer Hara, they were so tempting. And it's also what we call the comfort zone. People are used to something, it's very hard to take them out, even if it's not the best thing in the world. But still, it's very hard for us to understand. But that's why God Baruch Hu took Am Yisrael in the long way, that we won't get the influence from the idol worshipper that around us. This is exactly the idea that we said last week, and we're talking about the mitzvah of V'higata lebincha bayom hahu le'emor, that the main basic mitzvah for us, especially now with all the ignorance that we have around us, people don't even know. Jewish people don't even know what it's all about. They don't know anything. It's frightening. And this is why the whole idea of Yetziat Mitzrayim, this wasn't for the Goyim, it wasn't for the Egyptians, but for us. To understand and realize that God is the one, God created the world, God is the one, there is nobody else, and He looks after us. That was the whole idea of the 10 plagues. Now, when we look at it, so we have to take this message. Seeing that only 20% got out of Egypt, we have to take ourselves in a hand and take a mission to spread the knowledge, to spread the belief in God. So one guy told me, from Egypt, as you said, only 20% got out and 80% didn't go out. It's a waste of time to try and convince people that are not convinced, that are going against the Jewish tradition. It's a mistake. You shouldn't do it. It's not going to help you. And I told him, what are you talking about? Okay, so 80% didn't go out of Egypt, but it doesn't mean that we have to, we'll say, okay, we're not doing anything. Those are our brothers and sisters. We have to try. And we have to understand that it's not, okay, you saved one, you did an unbelievable thing. And this, we having a shiur in Tehillim with a perush of the Rashar Hirsch on every Shabbos. And one of my friends that he comes all the time to the shiurim, and he said something very interesting. He said, I have a friend, we did a course together, and we were in some caves, wherever, and then there was that's the name, it's cave, where Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was buried. And the guy asked me, what is this all about? And I told him about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. He said, what did you do, this Rabbi Yehuda Nasi? He says he wrote a Mishnah, that the oral Torah, he wrote it, made it written, because he was afraid that it will be forgotten by people. And that's, by the way, also the reason that Kodesh Baruch Hu took Am Yisrael out of Egypt at that certain time, because it was not yet the time. But if the Kodesh Baruch Hu wouldn't take Am Yisrael out, it wasn't 80% that stayed there, it will be, unfortunately, everybody. And this is why Kodesh Baruch Hu brought the Geulah at that special moment, in order to save at least those 20% out of Egypt. And this is exactly what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi did. He saw that that the oral Torah is being forgotten, and people are going to forget everything about it, so he decided to write it down. And he wrote it down, and this guy was very interesting. He didn't know anything about it. The next time this guy, when he meets this friend, he told me, I went on Shabbos to synagogue, and I discovered that I am a Kohen. And the congregation that they helped me to do the Nesiat Kapat, to bench, to bless Am Yisrael in Bekat Kohanim. And he started going to synagogue every Shabbos. Unbelievable. So I told him, you see, he was always talking, what can I do? How can I influence on people that don't know anything, don't want to know anything? I said, you see, when you save one soul, it's like you saved the whole world. That's what the Mishnah is saying. And says, look what you did. You saved one. And that's what I answered to the guy that told me it's a waste of time. So it's not a waste of time. Okay. Let's say I will not save the 80%. I will not save the 50%. I will save one. Wow. This is the whole world. We have to understand every Jew is a whole world. And if we save one, we did it unbelievable. And this is what we have to understand. It's our mission. And unfortunately, sometimes people live in the dark. They don't see the light. And what is light for them is dark for the others. Like the darkness, the plague of darkness, as we said last week. That for the Egyptian, it was dark. And they were so involved inside the idol worshipper that they made the darkness mamashut, real. And this sometimes, unfortunately, that also a part of the Jewish people did. And it reminds me of a story of a guy in London. His son is in hospital and he went home to bring some toys and candies for his son in hospital. Unfortunately, there was a fog, and the fog in London is very heavy. And this fog was even heavier than ever. And it was night. He took a torch, but he couldn't see anything, nothing. It reminds me that years ago, my brother, he learned in Oxford, and we went to visit him, and we were driving, and there was fog on the road. I closed my eyes half of the way. I couldn't understand how he's driving. But this guy now, in the night, standing there in the darkness, fog all around him, the torch doesn't show him anything, and he doesn't know what to do. His son is waiting in the hospital, maybe he's crying, and he's starting to cry. There's nobody there. It's the night, nobody there. Suddenly he hears a voice. Can I help you? He thinks he's dreaming. He says, what? Can I help you? And a hand is touching him. Can I help you? So he's crying and telling me, I've got my son in hospital. I cannot see anything with the torch. Says, don't worry. I know the way. I'll take you. And he holds his hand and they're going together. Says, hey, be careful. Here we have to turn right. Be careful. There's a step. Be careful. Left. And they get to the hospital. Says, here is the hospital. He opens him the door and Baruch Hashem is in hospital. But he asks this guy, I don't know. Okay, you know the way, but the way you instructed me, that's unbelievable. I couldn't see anything. How could you? He says, I am blind. And this is exactly the point. For the blind, the darkness is no problem because he knows how to walk in the darkness. But for the other one, the darkness is darkness. You cannot see anything. And this is a big lesson for us. What is dark from the one is the light for the other. But we have to know what is the right light. And that's exactly what we have in our parsha. Our parsha is also Shirat Hayam, the singing on the water, on the sea, Shirat Hayam. And there is written, when they're going, Am Yisrael, into the sea, the ocean, they're going on earth in the middle of the sea, and the water is a wall from right on from left. Why is the Torah using the word water and not the word the yam, the sea? Because they went into the sea, and the sea was parted to two, and the sea was a wall from right and a wall from the left. But the Torah is using the word water. What is water? Water is Torah. The sea is the symbol of the power of nature and the power of, like we can say, the Yetzer Hara and all the desires and everything. And we are walking there in the middle of all this storm of desires and wishing to have this and that and all the good life and all the materialistic things. How can we survive this? We can go and walk on solid earth when the water of the Torah are our wall from right and from left. If we go in the way of the Torah, we know the right way how to go. And this is exactly what is showing us the real light. And the way to go, the way to walk in the nature, in all what we are surrounded with, all this temptation and other things, the only way to walk to the right way, to the right place, is ביבשה בתוך הים, והמים להם חומה. When the water is the wall, the water of Torah are the wall, then we can go in straight hell. ולא נחם אלוקים, then we can be saved from all the evil and all the Yetzer Hara and all the other things. Yes, not always we are successful, but we have to try and we have to go in the right way. And don't forget our brothers and sisters. We have a mission. We have to save them also. And it doesn't, nobody wants to save 100 people, 200 people, 2,000 people. Even if we save one, we did an unbelievable thing. כל המציל נפש אחת מישראל, כאילו קיים עולם מלא. So what do we do? If it's like the friend, like the guy in the shiur from Tehillim said, that he met his friend and he told him, and Baruch Hashem is going to synagogue every Shabbos. If it's our family, our neighbors, our, let's say, partners, the friends from work, whatever we can, to find a way to their heart and show them the right way. And when we understand that a lot of the people that are going against Am Yisrael, against the tradition, they don't even know what it's all about. Like a guy was sitting near me in the plane when we came back from Antwerp last week. An ignorant, he saw this chassid that was disturbing a little. He said, look at those Haredim. He says, what do you mean, look at those Haredim? He says, Haredim? This is one guy from a whole group of people that are so many levels and so many Hasiduyot and so many Haredim, which you call. They're not all the Peleg Yerushalmi. They're not all like this. And I explained to him, and he couldn't understand it. Because from him, from what he hears all the time, is Haredim, 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 Haredim. For him, they're all the same. And it's so wrong, because we have all those Yad Sarah, Ezer Lamarpeh, Yedidim, all those groups, they are all Haredim groups. And we have also Haredim that go to the army, like I have relatives that went to the army. And we have a lot of other things. And to be so, one-minded, this is the problem. This is what we have to fight against. And the only way is to tell them, sometimes to tell them the truth, to show them what it's all about, because they don't know anything. So we are going to be careful not to be influenced by the evil, by the wrong way. And this is the way to do it, is going in the Yabasha Betoch Hayam, in the ocean of desire and lust and Yetzer Hara, when we have the walls of the Torah, Amayim Laim Chomam Minam Mismolam, then we can go in the right way and help also our brothers and sisters to come closer to the tradition, and Bezrat Hashem La Gula Shlema B'mira B'yameinu Amen.